Hey there everyone, Lord Fidget here, and today I wanted to talk about Chaos Season. I just kind of spontaneously decided that. As you know, the most recently concluded Ether Raid season was the first Chaos Season we've ever had, or at least the first time they're calling it Chaos Season. And I just kind of wanted to deliver my thoughts on the mode in general, and also do some commentary over my matches. That is something I have not done in quite some time, so I figured, why not give it a shot again? I will be doing my initial thoughts over the first few matches of the season, and I'm choosing to do that now because the first few matches of the season were me throwing Core and Turbo at bad maps. So even if I wanted to do commentary over them, there wouldn't be a whole lot to talk about. Anyway, thoughts on Chaos Season. I do like the fact that it is more relaxed. And actually, in a lot of ways, it's like how AR was when it was first released, which is why I said earlier, rather, that it's the first time they're calling it Chaos Season rather than it's the first actual Chaos Season. I mean, there's no mythic mechanics, the scoring and the stat bonuses. There's no extra slot, or bonus slot, or whatever the heck they're officially called. I don't remember. So you're always playing 5-on-6s, although I think initially there were 4-on-5s, and at a certain tier you unlock the ability to purchase the 5th offense slot and 6th defense slot with ether stones. I could be misremembering that. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, please. But it's simpler. Long story short, it's simpler. I say it's simpler. It's easier to be attacking a defense map, which is, I think it's nice, but that might just be me talking because my activity level is, it's definitely higher than my hiatus days of early to mid this year, really. But it's still nowhere near where I was at my peak of actually caring about heroes. And I do still care about heroes, it's just not as much. But I digress. So it's simpler, that's kind of nice for offense, not so much for defense. It does take, notably it takes the 7-slot trap option off the table, which is, again, great for offense, not so great for defense. Although you still can do turn 1 pressure, it's just not quite as prominent. It just takes a pretty huge option off the table. It's also nice in terms of flexibility. Again, with no mythic mechanics, you're free to just kind of build whatever teams you want. Whereas with Light Season and Astra Season, you have to bless your units, and then they're locked to that season unless you switch their blessing, which I guess theoretically you could do since you get 3 free offense blessings every week just for playing the mode. But it's just a hassle, and it just feels a little restrictive. And here in Chaos Season, you just have the ability to run whatever the heck you want. So that's nice. Downsides, sometimes it can be too relaxing, I guess. I don't know if that's... Can you really call that a con? But, I built 3 teams for Chaos Season. And I only built 3 teams because after I built the 3, I looked at it and said, yeah, I don't think I can really do much else that these 3 teams don't cover already. Those 3 teams were Caeda, which is like a Gale Force / hit and run type of strategy. FEH, which is just range tank FEH plus near save Arden. I do think it's a little that generally it's better to do 1 range tank and then far save armor. I just don't have any good far save armors from release 1, and I just didn't feel comfortable with using a not release 1 super tank thingy since they don't have the bonus unit stats. And then I built Core and Turbo, which is Core and Turbo. You've probably all seen it before, even though it's the first time on my channel, I think. And of those 3 teams, I used only Caeda and Core and Turbo. That's what I mean when I say it can be a little too relaxing. And those two teams, notably, are heavy player phase teams, which I don't know. It's good or bad. Couldn't be good or bad. Yeah, the simplicity makes it a lot easier. Player phase and player phase just tends to be more, I guess, choreographed. You can more easily just plan out exactly how you're going to initiate and then know exactly how the enemy team is going to respond and just kind of go from there. Well, I mean, ideally you do that anyway, but it's easier to plan. I guess is what I'm getting at. I just went about it in an incredibly roundabout way. I do apologize. And the other con, I guess, kind of going off of what I said before about offense being easier, defense is, as a result, harder, which is not necessarily bad, I guess. But if you do enjoy designing your defense map and taking pride in its success, then it's a little harder to do that. I mean, you can do it. I've seen some pretty nasty defense maps. It's just more difficult, I guess is what I'm getting at. So yeah, those are my initial thoughts. So let's go ahead and just pivot into some commentary on matches. In match number 4, I sent the Caeda team up against this block of units, I guess. Actually, now that I look at it, it's mostly Dark Mythics, huh? I hadn't noticed that before. There's a pretty easy initiation for this map where I just send Caeda Sea Blossom Pair up the right-hand side to take out the fallen Edelgard. She is able to just barely survive and then retreat with the power of Kanto. The enemies did opt to go all down the right-hand side, and in order to prevent Medeas from getting a refresh on the enemy phase and getting too far ahead of his allies, I placed Caeda below Triandra to force her to attack instead. The idea being that I wanted to get Panic Smoke off on Medeas to get rid of his buffs. Caeda took a lot more damage than I was expecting her to take from 2 green tomes between Triandra and Yoon, but she was able to take the Gale Force charge up and delete both of them on the player phase and get Sothis on the enemy phase as well, so that was nice. Less nice, unfortunately, is that Bramamon decided that he didn't want to be near Medeas anymore and walked off onto the defense tile. The good news is that with the defense tile in play, Azura was able to take 2 attacks from Medeas, and with dragon effective damage from Naga, she was able to dish out a decent amount of damage back, and that allowed me to finish Medeas off on the enemy phase. On the player phase, with Legendary Caeda given the Divine Fang bonus this time around. In the 5th match, I sent the Caeda team against a space oppression setup with high investment units. I decided to go for another hit-and-run strategy. My initial idea was to have Caeda Sea Blossom Pair take a 23 damage counterattack from Dusel to get exactly into Wings of Mercy range. I forgot that Dolphin Dive Axe would just straight up one-shot the guy. I wasn't really thinking about it. I guess I'm just not really used to Dusel dying so quickly to anything. I decided to continue with the strategy as I originally planned it, having Legendary Caeda take out Azura and Erika on the enemy phase. Unfortunately, without Wings of Mercy, I can't really play around the Strikes Twice effect, trying to get my units out of the space within 3 rows and columns of Edelgard. The good news is that with Speed Def Rain in play, I was able to get the one-hit KO with Legendary Caeda. Actually, I should clarify, Speed Def Rain and Azura's +6 attack opening buff on the Edelgard, which Caeda was able to steal. Without that, she wouldn't have gotten the one-hit KO. After this, it was down to playing a game of Keep Away with the Corrin, getting the Ether structures while keeping my units safe. Corrin is going after Naga, so I decided to get Naga over to the right, and Corrin followed dutifully, and then after grabbing the Ether Fountain, Caeda was able to take Corrin down. Match number 6 put the Caeda team against a 2-range cavalry pressure setup. That ended about as well as you might expect, given that Legendary Caeda exists. I was able to stick her right in the range of all the 2-range cavalry, well, except for Leone, and she was able to take them all out with the Vantage effect on her personal B passive. This was exactly what I expected that she would be good at when I first saw her kit, just specifically deleting cavalry setups. Unfortunately, she's not consistent enough against armor for my tastes. A lot of them can just straight up survive a single hit from her, especially with all the defensive tools armors are getting nowadays. However, it's very nice to be able to use her against cavalry, especially now in AR, since she's usually only available during water season. The seventh match of the season pitted the Caeda team against the map of a viewer, or former viewer. This person is actually on my friends list. I believe I probably mock battled them at least once when I was still doing mock battle videos. I actually did end up mock battling this map before Chaos Season, just when I was trying to get a feel for what Chaos Season defense maps looked like. This one I specifically chose because I was intrigued by the ability to trap without KOing Guinevere. Since Lilith can warp to a space within 2 spaces of her support partner, I used the Corin Turbo team during my mock battle attempts, and just KO'd Veronica, stuck Corin in front of Solon, and then planted Lilith exactly in the spot where Caeda Sea Blossom pair just was a few seconds ago. So that was pretty interesting. Very similar situation here, just executed a trap and cleaned up afterward. As of match number 8, I had officially reverted to using Corin Turbo. I do think that there is a way to get around Medius and Near Save Arden on the same map with the Caeda team, but honestly, it was just more trouble than it was worth trying to figure it out. I think it probably involved baiting out the Duocrom with Legendary Caeda. She can actually handle an attack from him. In fact, she can even take a Deadeye from him with Io's Shield. And that's something I discovered during a mock battle against a different map, which is a story for another day. But here, I just deployed Corin Turbo and trapped the Yoon. She can't do anything to Caeda, really, so I was able to get the Ether structures and clean up afterward. For the 9th and final match, I deployed the Corin Turbo team against a high space oppression setup. I took full advantage of Lilith's ability to warp to any space within 2 spaces of Corin here. After taking out the Mia, Lilith was able to get into that gap and take out the Sigurd, enabling me to use my duo and harmonic skills. After that, since the Duma did not have armored boots or armored stride, it was possible to take out every unit except for him, and then watch him advance helplessly on the enemy phase. After that, it was just a matter of cleanup. And that's it. That's all I have for matches in Chaos Season, so thank you so much for watching. Maybe I'll be able to get into the groove of doing this more regularly. We'll have to see. So, as always, thanks so much for watching, and I will catch you next time.